Now then, in this short video we're going to take a look at recommended sleeping bags for Everest Base Camp. So if you're trekking up to Everest Base Camp and camping up there, we're going to look at recommended sleeping bags for that. Now then, let's just have a look at temperatures that we're talking about. Nighttime temperatures up at Everest Base Camp are typically about -10 degrees C, but it can drop down, regularly drops down to about -15 and can get colder. So that's the sort of temperature, nighttime temperatures that we're considering for this camp, for this Everest Base Camp. Now, let's look at, I've got 3 recommendations here for you, and then I'll go on to make a couple of other suggestions that you could consider. We'll start with the bag that most people select for Everest Base Camp, and it's this one. It's the Hispar 500K. Now the Hispar bags have been described as ultra lightweights for the mountains, and they're mountaineering bags but built on a very, very lightweight principle, really looking at getting the advantage of trying to get maximum warmth for minimum weight, but designing kit that is suitable for these high altitude treks. The Hispar 500 is a remarkable weight. It comes in at 770 grams for the standard size bag, so really, really lightweight, and it has a typical operating temperature of -15. Absolutely amazing. And of course the advantage of very, very lightweight kit is it packs down very small as well, so you've got a double advantage. The idea of course is you're going to carry it more than you use it. So the pack down size and the weight are really of interest to you on these sorts of treks. Let's just run through it. It's built in ultra shell. The outer fabric is PhD's ultra shell. That's a water resistant fabric, so that's for condensation. It helps protect the down when you've got condensation drips in the tent, or if you're using it in a snow hole or that sort of type of situation, it helps to protect the down. So the outer is this superb water resistant ultra shell. The inner fabric is 10X fabric. I don't know if you can see it there. That's a very lightweight, downproof, windproof fabric, but very, very light and very soft, and it allows the down to really loft in towards you and to drape close to your body, so you get maximum warmth from the gear. It's got a half-length zip as standard, which is needed because you can see this is a mummy-shaped bag. This is a mummy-shaped bag, and it comes in off the shoulder closer to the hood, and so you need a zip to get in and out of the bag. Now PhD are specialist makers of insulated gear for mountaineering, down sleeping bags primarily, and down suits and down jackets and down clothing and so on. Primarily down. We do a little bit of gear in synthetics like Primaloft, where we're particularly focusing on wet conditions, but most of our kit is lightweight gear. Now we make to order. Everything we make is made to order. We don't have a production line and sell through the shops. We make to order for the end user, so we can get it exactly how you want it. These bags we can make in 16 different sizes, 4 different widths and 4 different lengths, and size matters with a sleeping bag. Getting exactly the right fit makes a massive difference to the warmth you get. If it's too big and wallowy, you've got dead air space. If it's too small, you're crammed, you're squashing the down, you're reducing the loft, and you're going to get cold. So getting a good fit is really important. So when you're looking on our product page, you can select the size that you want, the width and the length. Go to the size chart. It's based on your body size, and then we can make the recommendations on what length and what width fits you. The other thing we can do is we can put a zip on the left or the right according to what works for you. If you're right-handed, it's normal to have a zip on the left shoulder, so you reach over to open the bag. We can make these bags with short zips or long zips. A long zip is a double ender. It opens at the bottom as well, so you can cool down your feet. So there's a lot of options. There's also fabric options. We can make these with a fully taped waterproof shell over the top if you're particularly concerned about very damp conditions, for instance snow holing and so on. So this is the first recommendation, the Hispar 500K. Now the K bags are the lighter bags. They're the lightest bags we make, and they're made in 1000 fill-power down. Now we're the only company in the world using 1000 fill-power down for high altitude expedition gear. It's a very powerful down, got a high fill power rating. The fill power is 1000 fill power, where you see these figures of 900, 1800 and so on. That denotes the actual fill power of the down, which really indicates the recovery of the down. Of course, as climbers and mountaineers, we're interested in compressing this insulation down into the minimum pack size, so we squeeze it tightly into a stuff sack so it takes up the least space up in your rucksack. But when we release it, when we take it out of the stuff sack, we really want it to loft. And that is what fill power rating really measures. It measures the ability of that down to recover its full original shape and therefore give you maximum loft and maximum amount of air trapped around you to keep you warm. So the higher the fill power, the better. And for us, that gives us the advantage of either creating warmer gear. We're experts in this extreme warmth of equipment for very, very low temperature expeditions. Or it gives us the potential to make much lighter gear. So you go with more powerful, higher quality downs, you get more loft, and therefore you can make much, much lighter gear. And that's how we create this remarkably high quality and very, very lightweight equipment. Okay, so that is filled with 1000 fill power down. It's a natural down. It's not being treated with any chemical treatments to enhance the performance. It's a natural down, and that gives you the maximum lifespan of the down. So these bags are built for a very long term lifespan. They should last for years and years and years. As long as they're stored correctly and dried fully when they've been used or washed and so on, then they're going to give you a very, very long lifespan. And that's why we use natural fill powered, natural down. Okay, so my first recommendation is the Hispar 500, and it gives a typical operating temperature of -15. Now, my next recommendation is the Hispar 600. It's the Hispar 600K. Okay, so it's a warmer bag. It's the same design. It's a Hispar. It's rated at -21. So if you really want more warmth, if you know you feel the cold and you really want a better bag, a warmer bag, then the Hispar 600K is the one to look at. Again, it's extremely lightweight, a very, very lightweight piece of equipment, filled with 1000 fill power down. So it fits this brief: maximum warmth for minimum weight, and it's the Hispar K600, ultralight for the mountains. That's the reason that these bags are so popular for high altitude trekking and mountaineering. Very, very lightweight equipment. So my second recommendation is the Hispar 600K. Now, a couple of things just to tell you. This is actually a wide bag. We make them in 4 different widths: slim, standard, wide and extra wide, and 4 different lengths: short, standard length, long and extra long, so you can get exactly the right size that you want. This one's a wide. There's a couple of things I'll just show you on this one. So this is rated at -21. It's got a double draft tube behind the zip. Look, it's filled. These Hispars are filled with a down draft tube behind the zip, because zips don't prevent cold air. Cold air gets through a zip very easily. So we've got a double draft tube, one on that side, one on this side. When you zip it together, those draft tubes join and are sealed when they're pushed together by the closing of the zip. Now, this bag here, when we get up into the Hispar 600s and beyond, inside the bag we've made them with 10x fabric, that beautiful lightweight fabric on the inside, but we've used ultra shell. That's that water resistant fabric. We've used ultra shell on the inside of the hood and the collar, and also at the foot end. We've put ultra shell down at the foot end. I'll just open it up a bit and I can show you. This is the Hispar 600, and we've done the same with the Hispar 800 and 1000 and 1200 and so on. We've put ultra shell down at the bottom end of the bag, and that's because at the head end, at these very low temperatures, once you get down to about -20 and those sorts of temperatures, your breath freezes on the sleeping bag at night. So while you're asleep and breathing, the moisture in your breath will settle as ice around the hood of the sleeping bag, and that's not really a problem. But if in the morning when the sun comes up and if it gets very hot inside the tent, that ice as it melts it goes through into the down. So we've used water resistant fabric on the inner of the hood, and the same goes for the foot end. A lot of us get into a sleeping bag with our socks on, don't we? We wear our socks all day, take our boots off, get into a sleeping bag. Those socks might not feel it, but they're usually quite damp, and there's quite a lot of moisture down at the foot end from wet socks. So because of that, we've put water resistant fabric to help protect the down. I'll just close this up. So this is the second recommendation. It's a warmer bag, the Hispar 600, and it's particularly of interest if, for instance, you're very petite, slim and light and you really feel the cold, then a warmer bag is worth considering. Now, so that's the Hispar 600K series bag. Again, incredibly light piece of equipment, rated at -21. Now, I'm just going to go back to this bag again because there's a third bag. It's a lighter bag and it's the same build as the Hispar 500, but it's a Hispar 400. Now that's rated at -9 degrees C. So if you're a warm sleeper and you really know that you don't want as much insulation as other people, you can go to a lighter bag, the Hispar 400, rated at -9 degrees C. It's built in the same way as this one. This is the Hispar 500, but that's my third recommendation, the lighter of the bags, the Hispar 400K. Okay, now I said I would bring in a couple of other suggestions. That's 3 sleeping bags there, all Hispar K series bags, so the lightest possible bags, incredibly lightweight gear for high altitude trekking and mountaineering. So I've looked at 3 bags there. Now there are a couple of other suggestions that I'd like to look at for you. The first of those is actually our Greenlandic bags. Got one here. Now the Greenlandic bags, we make a set of Greenlandic bags with various temperatures. Now 2 of them are worth considering for Everest Base Camp, and that is the Greenlandic 500 and the Greenlandic 600. Those are rated at -10 and -15. But the reason I'd suggest these are worth considering for some people is these are a semi-rectangular bag. These are a wider bag, and there's more room inside them for side sleepers and stomach sleepers, and that's because these bags are much wider down at the bottom end. From below the hip, really, they stay wide. They don't come in like a mummy-shaped bag. So if you're a person that finds the constricted nature of a mummy-shaped bag doesn't suit you, if you can't get on with it, it's worth having a look at these other bags, semi-rectangular bags they're called, and they've got this wider profile down below the waist. That's where you really need it. So if you're a side sleeper or a stomach sleeper or a wriggler and you like to be able to move around in your bag a lot, it's worth having a look at the Greenlandic 500 and 600. I'll just show you, this one's actually been built with a waterproof shell on it. It's what we can do with all our sleeping bags if that's what you want. If you want a fully taped shell on a sleeping bag, we can make that for you. But let me just try and show you the difference. That's the Hispar 500. And that's a Greenlandic. I don't know if you can see it very well, but from the bottom half of that bag is much wider. If I just show it just at the foot end, because that's where it matters, you can see that's a standard sleeping bag foot piece there, big enough for comfort and so on. But this bag has been broadened, so we've made a bag with a much broader foot piece and broader area at the lower end. So if you're looking at Everest Base Camp, if you're trekking and camping up there and you don't like mummy sleeping bags, take a look at the Greenlandics. And the 2 I'd suggest are the Greenlandic 500 and the Greenlandic 600. They are made in very lightweight materials. This one, as I say, actually is made in Dry-Lex. It's a taped shell, but they're made in very lightweight materials. This one, I'll just open it up so you can see it. It's got an storm baffle on top of it and waterproof fabric. I've got to be careful today, it's a windy day. My sleeping bags are so light they might blow away. But on the inner of the outer of this one is Dry-Lex waterproof taped shell. It's an option. But the inner is 7X, a 7 denier fabric, very, very lightweight to really allow the down to loft in towards you. And then here again, the collar and the hood area and the inner footer area are built in ultra shell, that water resistant fabric, to really protect from frost and ice around the inside of the hood. Okay, so that's another suggestion, the Greenlandic bags. The reason for suggesting that one is because they've got wriggle room. If that's something that matters to you, have a look at the range, the Greenlandic range. Okay, now I'll just put that one down and hope it doesn't blow away. Now, I've got one other. Now then, I've got one other suggestion that you could consider for Everest Base Camp for sleeping, and that is the idea of making a sleep system. Now, PhD sleep systems is the concept of using your down clothing inside your down sleeping bag, and that allows you to, the down clothing that you're taking already, a down jacket, and if you add to that down trousers and down socks, then you can use that to sleep in. So you've got a two-layer system. You've got a down sleeping bag over a full down layer, almost like a down suit or down pyjamas, if you want to think of it that way. So down jacket, down trousers and down socks. The down socks are important because you're getting another full layer of down all the way around your body. So that is how we look at, that's one of the ways we consider sleep systems. And sleep systems is all about increasing warmth, going lighter, using a much lighter sleeping bag, and also increasing flexibility. So there's a system here that I'd like to suggest for Everest Base Camp, a sleep system. There's a couple more. If you look on PhD's website and look at its sleep systems section in the website, it gives you lots of details of ways of combining our down clothing with our down sleeping bags. So you can look at, it's particularly useful to look at this for much lighter systems. That's the reason for it. So here's one that I can suggest for Everest Base Camp. So for this sleep system for Everest Base Camp, we're going to start the system with the Hispar 400K. So very lightweight piece of kit, and it's rated at -9. Okay, now to put a set of clothing to go inside that, I'm going to suggest the PhD Yukon jacket. Now this is perfect for Everest. Very lightweight gear, but very warm. It's rated at -15, so absolutely perfect for this sort of trek. Absolutely brilliant for being in at Everest Base Camp. Now to go with that Yukon jacket, I'm going to add to it a pair of Minimus down trousers. Very warm, very light, packs down tiny, but very welcome in camp, really comfortable and warm. So Minimus trousers, and to go on with that, important part is a pair of Minimus socks. These are very light, incredibly warm, packed down really tiny. So there we've got a system, the Yukon jacket, the one I'm wearing, Minimus trousers and Minimus socks. I'll just put those down, don't want them to blow away. And that sleep system altogether gives you a full system sleep rating. That's a way of describing the full system together, down clothing inside a sleeping bag. So the full system sleep rating is -24. So it's absolutely massive, isn't it? It's a very impressive system. Yukon jacket, Minimus trousers, Minimus socks to give you your clothing set of insulation around you, full set including the socks, and then a down sleeping bag, and you can go with the Hispar 400 and it'll take you down to -24. So there you've got both things. You've got a lighter system, a way of going lighter than you would go, a very lightweight sleep system, but you've also got flexibility and a lot of warmth. It'll go down to -24, and of course in the lower stages of your approach to Everest Base Camp you can just use the sleeping bag on its own, so you've got a bag that gives you -9 on its own. Now in terms of the width of the sleeping bag, with this, with high expedition gear, if you do this system, if you use a sleeping bag and a down suit, for instance, inside it to go with that sleep system, you need a wider bag, because a down suit really lofts a lot, and you've got to allow that full loft of the clothing to get that temperature rating. If you squeeze it and it doesn't loft as much, you're not going to be as warm as you thought you were, as you calculated you were going to do. But with this weight of clothing, the Yukon, the Minimus trousers, the Minimus socks, you can still take a standard sized bag, so you don't need any adjustment to your equipment, it'll accommodate it. That's amazing, because the Hispar 400 is -9, so it's pretty good for a lot of types of mountaineering. It's good for the Alps, it's good for the UK winters and so on. So you've got a very, very flexible system. So the same gear you're using in Scotland and the Alps can be used up at Everest Base Camp. Okay, so there we are. 3 recommendations of sleeping bags for Everest Base Camp. The Hispar, 3 different weights of Hispar K-series bags. And then on top of that, if you're interested in a bag that, if you need a bag with more wriggle room, have a look at the Greenlandic bags. And if you want to go lighter still, if you want to go with a sleep system that saves weight and is more flexible, have a look at our sleep systems page, and there's more ideas there for you to consider. All right, cheers.